Hey there, guys. It is Rachel Feldman. I just want to say hello from my home office. So if you hear a ding, that was actually my amazing husband, Scott, taking our dog out. So for today's training, this is for coaches who were in the same place that I was when I first started my business. You probably are feeling overwhelmed by social media. You might even be feeling overwhelmed by what platforms to use. Should it be on Instagram? Should it be LinkedIn? Should it be YouTube? How do I even build my list? This was every question that I had, that I felt anxiety, that I thought I was the only one alone when I first started my business in 2010. So for today's training, I'm going to cover what I call these like 7 ways to market, even if you hate marketing. A lot of you are introverts. A lot of you are like me, where you appear like an extrovert, but there's a lot of overwhelm when it comes to like showing up. And even though it doesn't seem that way, guys, I did not start my business by doing a huge digital marketing campaign online. I really started with some old school approaches and ones that have continued to work despite whatever environment or culture is out there economically, or even that has sustained through the years, where there's been a lot of changes, meaning changes with information that your clients being fed, places that they go and find information. Media is at an extent that was very different from when I started 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. And the truth is that it can feel saturated, and that's not an excuse. What I want to teach you is how to really stand out in a busy crowd. So we're going to go presentation style. If you don't know me, again, my name is Rachel Feldman. I have a tendency to be more of a storyteller, and so I need to keep myself right on point with this PowerPoint. So what you can expect in the Slow Mini training is we're going to go through each of the PowerPoint slides as an overview, and then what I'm going to be doing over the next few months is really diving into each specific topic and sharing with you the strategies that I've used, as well as the strategies that I've seen a lot of successful coaches who are introverted or maybe not the best marketers, because truth is this: we were born as coaches and healers and intuitives and whatever niche you have. We weren't born as marketers. And some of the people that you see who may be having success faster than you are better at marketing skills. So regardless, guys, we are going to share a screen. And please, if you have any questions, drop them below, and possibly I can even answer them live. If not, join our free group, and I will be diving into this the whole entire time, because it's such an important aspect. So let me just go to slideshow. All right. We're going to get back to the marketing basics. Marketing 101, digital marketing 101. And this is building the know, like, and trust factor. A lot of people out there have freebies. A lot of people have workshops and webinars. And you're amazing in your talents. You might be even better than the person who is beating you out on getting the conversions, because you do know more, because you've either been through more, you're really clear on the steps that you took to go from, what I call like this hellish experience. What were those pivotal steps? And so you might be in a situation where you feel exhausted by the marketing, and I want to bring back that excitement, because we do get to build this business that helps people. And my big why, and the thing that got me over my fear of public speaking and my fear of doing videos, was that I kept thinking, if I was there for myself when I was struggling with all these issues, when my husband was struggling with his issues, when my kids were, when family members, if I could go back in time, this business is really because I want to change the game for my hereditary makeup. I want to give my kids a different opportunity in this environment where we have more toxins. So these genetic factors don't constantly imprint their destiny. And so please, as we go through any presentation, just always remember all the marketing skills, all the digital marketing, Facebook ads, everything. It all works when you are extremely clear and confident about what you do, because fear is going to step in. So we're going to squash that, and we're going to go back to some original marketing basics. You don't build trust just by saying that you have a freebie. You don't build trust just by saying that you have a workshop, a challenge, and a group. We build trust because we start to share our behind the scenes of our life, our own success stories, how we helped our family, how we helped our friends, how we've been a caretaker. We start to share these elements, which they're called micro stories, but really it is your hero journey. And so with strategy, when you bring that strategic, organic list building in, you can step back, take a breath, because you really don't have to be anyone but yourself. So that means I want you to write down a few things even right now. What would make somebody trust you? What are the products that you use? How can you showcase your knowledge, your transformation, and shift how you're looking at marketing? So you want to stand out from your competitors. So you're going to write down, number one, a few things, journal it. This is even a great, what I call Sunday soul day, or even Saturday when you have, a cup of tea or coffee in the morning, and just have time to really say, this is what sets me apart. This is what I've been through. This is what I want to be known for, which is my niche. These are my teaching pillars, which really are three to four subtopics of your niche that help you to separate yourself from your competitors. With that being said, make sure that you are looking at people in your industry that you admire, people who are competitors, and those that you also admire, and see what they're offering. So remember, always do those beginning steps. It takes the confidence. It takes you even doing some basic market research, and also making sure that you practice so that you can also reframe how marketing is. So let's just talk about even the basics. We want to kick butt freebie. When you are choosing this freebie, I personally believe, and this is what I did, is that you always need 3 workshops and 3 signature freebies. And if not, it's just noise. It's like noise. In the beginning, there's going to be a little noise. There's going to be what I call like shooting darts, because you're testing to see, once you've declared that niche, and many of you guys don't overthink this, you know this already. Once you declare that niche and you're like, you know what? My story was a hellish journey with my hormones. I want to be known for that hormone coach, or I want to be known as this, autoimmune coach, or I want to be known as this thyroid coach, this mindset, this overeating, stress, coach for people that have anorexia or bulimia. Whatever it is, a gut coach. What you want to think about is, how are these signature workshops, which we're going to talk about in just a few minutes, how do these really showcase your teaching style? And that's why with our Done Free programs, a lot of people love them, because they don't have to spend, what would be about 3 to 7 hours making something look pretty, or even writing it. So when you're thinking of your freebies that you can either have on the front of your website, maybe you also have freebies in your blogs, or maybe you're like many of our coaches, like Dana Denawi, who has one on the front of her site, and then she also has another positioned on her link tree on IG. Both of those freebies are her signature freebies. Why? Because they are direct lead, which is really this funnel word. They lead this person from the freebie, which is a mini step, into, of course, their main program. So when you are like, I hate marketing, a lot of the I hate comes from just massive overwhelm. So really just think, what are these 3 freebies? And also, how can you even use freebies? Perfect example is you saw right on the website. Another is you can have freebies right into a group. Grab people's email when they enter the group, or even say, hey, come and read the pinned post and grab this like gift bundle. And you want that gift bundle, of course, to be a reflection of what that mini step with you, that mini win, so that they want to get on a one-on-one call, or they want to actually personal message you to have your paid offer. But the thing is that we need to get them to actually trust us and want to spend their time, let alone opt in. So I just wanted to clarify freebies. It can be a checklist. It could be a like clean eating list. It could be a quiz. It could be a challenge. It could even be like a 5-day like clean eating plan. There were so many different ways to do freebies, and ones that also, I feel like create a little more engagement, maybe a challenge that you're kicking off with, or even a quiz. So when you think of freebies, expand your mind, because freebies are for you to be able to build your social media around that, or even as you're reaching out for referral network partners, you're like, hey, can I write a blog on your website, or can I send a newsletter to your list? And in turn, I'm going to gift them with this freebie. So that's what I call the if you hate marketing. This is such a simple approach. Doesn't mean you're not going to feel overwhelmed. It's simple because it takes you into the referral network building. And this was exactly what I did with Rachel's Wellness. I made a list of people that I already knew, my own doctor, chiropractor, Chinese herbalist, massage therapist, all these different people that I knew from, them being my own, people. And I said, do you want to co-partner on this? Can I send something to your list? Can I, present this in your newsletter? I mean, so many different options like I talked about. You can also, of course, if it's a challenge, you can even say to the yoga studio or the gym or anyone, hey, can I give this freebie? And I'm going to give a little video with each day. You don't have to make it complicated, guys. Some of you have virtual assistants. Some of you are just techie. And if you're like me, Simple Pimple is that you can just deliver those videos and even say, here's one document for the videos to go with this challenge. You could, of course, for that referral partner, even if you're doing a challenge independent, build out the unit section in a Facebook group and look at that as the roadmap. It allows you to have 5 different mini teachings, because it's in those mini teachings that we really help our client to get to know us. And it also lessens the amount of nonstop posting and feeling a little frantic with your posting. Remember, simplify it. A lot of people will choose different formats for freebies because everyone processes in a different way. Some of you love audio, some of you love to touch things, some of you are big readers, and some of you love little videos, which is why I always say, we create the content and then think of these very simple ways to use the content to make it super easy. Autoresponder, many of you love MailerLite, MailChimp, ConvertKit, and a myriad of other ones. Find one that's very easy for you to use so that doesn't overwhelm you and take away from you talking about your freebie. Of course, you can use Facebook ads. They do work. I would say probably the easiest one that I see people do before you hire somebody for audiences is to make a video and boost it, or of course, to boost like a freebie or even a challenge or something of that is just free and you know that your ideal client wants it. Remember, your niche, really looking at your signature freebies. These are the things that you're going to talk about so that you're not just leading people to a discovery call. You're going to actually talk about the freebies, talk about the workshop so that you actually have content that is strategically created even if you don't know the strategy, it's so simple for you to say, this month I'm focusing on this freebie. And so I'm going to really create content that talks about the benefits of this freebie. Talk about like why I wish that this freebie was around when I was going through ABC. Even give the freebie, like I said, to somebody who is, either a service provider because you want to, get to know their list, or somebody that already likes and knows and trusts you, so that you can lessen the amount of time that you feel is what I call that time where we're trying to get people to our URL to sign up and feels just overwhelming, even though it's not. Trust me, by the end of us going through these trainings, you're going to love marketing in the way that I learned to love it too. So you can create a webinar. Guys, this is pretty much a workshop. Some of you are doing webinars, and I'm going to even show you how to use our content. Some of you are doing webinars that are kicking off your membership open cart, or you're doing webinars to lead people to a one-on-one call, using that webinar as an opportunity for people to really get to know you. Perfect example is I signed up for a coach's freebie, and I got put on the list, and I got invited to a Saturday, learn with me, get educated, and find your solution. Every Saturday, this coach in a closed group, goes live into that group. You can easily, of course, use StreamYard, which I'm using right now, which is on Chrome. You can use a Zoom webinar feature. You can also just keep it really old school, have your phone, and this is one of the cheapest, simplest things to use, because you can just put your phone here. I'm going to do like this. You're going to, of course, do a little recording of the webinar. Guess what also? This same exact strategy, no cost, can be the same strategy that you also do those little videos about the benefits of your freebie, why somebody should click on the link in your IG, or why somebody should watch the video on YouTube. So you can use any one of our workshops, or even our workshop freebie, to create what I call this succinct theme per month. So if you are, of course, opening, your cart for something, you're launching your website, you want to really start that list building process, so that when you are either bringing somebody to a workshop, or maybe a series of lives in a group, or you're doing a live on your business page like Melissa Ramos, it's very easy to even build that know, like, and trust factor on your personal page. Elizabeth Ryder did this. Many different people that I've seen over the years from IIN and many other schools, they start to talk about the problems that they had. They don't make their personal page a sales page, but in the beginning, there's a little time in between the building of what I call a really engaging either Facebook group, your business page. And so there is that patience in the beginning stages where we do have to build, and we have to learn how to consistently show up without hating marketing or feeling exhausted. So this can, of course, be what we call this awareness opportunity, which is what list building is all about. So somebody gets a key understanding of what your teaching method is like and what you're like, and so that they start to build trust because they see you consistently show up. You consistently show up, and you're bringing everything back to your niche. You're touching on other problems that consistently affect your niche, so that you really become that person who separates yourself from the pack and the leader in that industry. And the thing is that you can be that. It's just sitting down and taking a breath, planning out what October, November, December, January. And it doesn't mean that you have to have everything planned. It's that you need to know how you are building your list with loving marketing, because it will be easier in what I show you, but then also making 2 of those days of your week, doesn't have to be a lot, doing outreach. This even includes podcasts, guys. When you're pitching to a podcast, you are going to 100% close that deal, because you're going to pitch to them and say, when I'm on your show, this is what I'm going to talk about. That can be one of our workshops. You don't have to recreate the wheel. You can instead massage what was already created and make it, clear for your own messaging. Doesn't take a lot to minimally change something. Also, when I would pitch to places in the summits, I can think of at least 11 summits that I was asked, maybe even more than that, might be in the 20s. These were all summits where they would say, I keep Googling and I find, a video on YouTube. I'm finding these videos. Everything was always videos, which is why you'll hear me like a broken record saying, get over yourself. It's going to be scary. And if you're like me, that always skirted around public speaking, I shot videos unlisted to simply practice. And that's a big thing that we don't talk about enough, is practicing those messages, practicing how you're going to do a workshop, practicing how you're going to pitch. All those opportunities, some would include even getting hired for Hippocrates to teach online business and how you build your business from ground up, were simply because I had videos on YouTube and videos on Pinterest and videos on my business page that showcased really how I was different. Other people, I can think of one of my moderators, Sarah Lawrence, who's a complete introvert, and she does a lot of pitching to people face to face. Either way, guys, it will solidify the deal, and it will also make it easier for you to pitch when you have something tangible. Pitch to podcast, you actually have a presentation that you can be reading, because we have scripts. You're going to pitch either or pitch to that podcast and say, I have a free gift that really is going to be a home run for people on your podcast, because you attract a lot of people who are trying to lose weight. This is my exact freebie. That's when we know it's signature, when it really showcases who you are, so that that person who opts in is like, oh, I opted in for weight, or this 5-day sugar challenge, or this 5-day gut challenge, and this person is talking to me about sugar and weight, or this person in the gut is talking about weight, autoimmune, and food allergies. When you look at your freebies as an extension of your core beliefs, as an extension of what you talk about when you're preaching to that friend, like, hey, this is what I do. It's just to give a structure. Okay, moving on to the next part, Facebook videos. I think video is a really great medium. For some of you, you love audio. I still would always suggest doing that audio. For those of you who do podcasts, for those of you who are looking at repurposing, hint, hint, is my favorite word on the repurposing. Make sure that you are recording in an MP4. It allows you for much better repurposing. And again, where are you uploading that audio / video? Are you uploading that video on a blog? It would make sense to, of course, have a call to action leading back to a freebie, so that somebody can come into your list. Also enhances the chance of somebody either finding that video where you're housing it, if it's public on YouTube, in that description. You don't even need to have a website for this. It's, hey, you want to watch this video because it addresses problem 1, 2, and 3. In this free guide, this is a great mini blueprint to help you achieve ABC. If you have any questions, click here and I'll have follow-up, emails. If you can't figure out automation, which was me, guess what? That's where it's great to have a free link tree put right there. Come into my free group, and this exact freebie that you just downloaded, I do videos each week into the group. Guys, the simplest, that is the simplest. Can't even think of words, and yet I never have a lack of. It is the simplest solution. That is exactly how I built Rachel's Wellness. I knew that I needed to keep things extremely simple because I was building this business with 2 kids. And one of them was not even in school. And even when she was in baby Montessori, it was for like 3 hours a day. I needed to be really smart with time. Truth is, once you get to that next stage, even if you're a brand new coach, once you get to that next stage, it's about optimizing your time and being really smart with your time. Once you get to that major growth stage, like one of, our success stories, Christine Hansen, you're at a place. And a coach that I just met on IG, Rebecca, who works, Christine Hansen's a sleep coach. Rebecca is an intuitive eating coach and just bought our 3-month Eat with Intuition program. They're fully booked. So when you're at that time, you're still having to be extremely smart with your time, your energy, your bandwidth. And so the reason that I love that cycle is if that person clicks on the YouTube video, it's directing them to your group. If they go into that group, you're using one of the freebies that you feel really showcases who you are, and you're building out either a unit section or you're making an event and saying, sign up for this event, guys. We're going to do this each week. And when that person signs up, even if you don't have automation at all, they have a Zoom, you have the Zoom link from registration, and it doesn't even have to go live into the group. And all of a sudden you're building your list. The biggest thing with list building is always ask people, is it okay for me to email you once you join this group? You want to be conscious of just, the privacy of people. And you want to make sure that when you're emailing people that they've given you that approval. So moving on to Facebook videos. Facebook videos, of course, can be pre-recorded. They can also be, of course, live, handy dandy, or you can even what I call double dip. One on IG and one on Facebook. And a lot of people do that by having an iPad and a phone. You can also, of course, upload pre-recorded videos. So hypothetically, one of the workshop challenges, freebies, or workshop freebie combo, like I gave that example in your group, it's about consistency. So when you even say, hey, join me in this group, I will upload 2 videos a week. Those videos don't have to be long. They're mini steps. So hypothetically, if it's you download this 5-day challenge, I'm now going to teach on how you actually say no to sugar cravings. That's one of the parts in the freebie. Another is you can teach on, probiotics and sugar cravings. You can literally reverse engineer and unpack the one guide where you're diving deeper into each element. One of the biggest things I see with coaches is they say, I had a challenge and it went okay, but people didn't sign up. And I always say, that's not a failure. Look at the failure and say, okay, what did I miss? The only thing you missed is that you just didn't dive in enough to maybe how to actually do this. People's biggest fears are that it's a waste of time for them. You got to think about the psychology of your scared buyer, this person who struggled like you did, or this person who, and I call these the different buyer avatar personalities. Maybe they're attracted to you, but they will never be you. They will never have changed everything about their life. They're just like stuck in fear. Doesn't mean that they're not committal. It means that they're stuck in like their over-analysis or too much responsibility being on their own shoulders, or inability to really move past like shame and fear. So guys, just remember when you are doing your marketing, it's not just about, it's putting out these freebies and these opportunities, but it's also making sure that you're speaking to your ideal client in your marketing efforts. a good friend of mine and a woman I grew up with in this wellness business. Her name's Lisa Consiglio. She was one of the first people back before memberships were even a thing that she launched a membership for Whole Health Designs, which is her business. And I interviewed her years ago and I said, your emails and your social media is just amazing. Who does it? And she, similar to one of my mentors, Ryan Lee, was like, I do it. And, she said, because I always just close my eyes and I think of one of the people in my life, either a friend or a client or where I was, and I speak to that person. And that's why still to this day, I do a lot of my own content because it was my journey. I mean, I can hire a great copywriter and I can hire a great social media person, but these like little stories that only I would know in my journey, business or health, I feel that, that's a part that we often forget about and we go for the shiny object. So just remember, loving marketing and really looking at it as an extension of your voice is also making sure that in your marketing efforts, you're speaking to that person. So visualize who that person is. Think of his or her problems. Think of his or her, as Megan Rand says, and Dr. Alex, who are also success stories in all my podcasts. I think Dr. Alex verbatim said, all I do is I think about myself, going through the pain of misdiagnosis. And, Megan Rand was like in my Instagram and our TikTok, because they're business partners, they're like, all we do is think about like all the misinformation that we got and be there to supply very simple steps so that the 24-hour changes. And I remember it's either Dr. Alex or Megan Rand. I was like, I remember, I think my desk was flipped this way and I went like this on a podcast. And I said, you just nailed it. You just nailed that. Our ideal client's biggest problem is we have to show them in their day how to not get jammed up. They have a lot of information. We're actually in so much information that we don't even know what information to believe. And don't be upset with me. I know it's a plastic bottle. Shame on me. I'm going to have to go take a DIM supplement after. But she said, when I'm doing our social media, because we do a lot of it and we build our list completely on social media platforms, the way that I don't hate marketing is to think of my social media as an extension of what I wish was out there, but also like these mini hacks that are really simple for that person in the day. So always look at your social media and say, is this providing this mini solution for the person that's going through these problems? And I know my ideal client, and then I'm going to really step into her shoes, which Ryan Dice is one of my favorite, talked about this live when I was at the 10X Growth Conference. He was like, you have to literally step in the shoes of your ideal client. Think, are they at work? Are they in front of a computer? Do they have small kids? Are they single? So that you can really hone in your message about, what you need to say. That's why I always say we save people time and money, because the amount of time it takes you to create a course or a membership or your freebies or your workshops, anything of that nature, is time that I would rather you spend in cultivating these messages and practicing, so that the content and you showing up and all the grit that you're putting in and perseverance as business doesn't go to the side and you get outbeat by the person who's just a little better marketing. It's not overcomplicated. The same content that's on a freebie or a workshop, it should be a video. For those of you on YouTube, you don't have to do lives. You don't have to do a live video ever. You can pre-record the videos. Simple one is Loom.com. You can do a screen share. You see a lot of people using it. There's other platforms, of course, for recording, but I like to keep things really simple. Loom is a favorite. Even a podcast person that I hired yesterday, she and I were talking about the extent of Loom videos that we have. Tip, you have to use it on Chrome, So don't be like me and waste about 6 weeks trying it on Safari. These same videos that you can pull from content in a workshop, content in a challenge, can also be IGTV. 60-second can also be on Reels, or 30-second, or Facebook stories. And you won't have to feel as exhausted by marketing because you're using the content that you have to build a message leading to a call to action. And that's where people really get to like fall in love with you, is those little stories. And it can even be for an introvert, like just showing, you know, your favorite zinc, all these pre-recorded simply just on your phone, videos, of course, on YouTube, using the template that we have from either a workshop or a freebie, or if you are launching your program, of course, do videos on the benefits of joining. Who's this for? Do them all pre-recorded. Never look and think that you have to be live. If you need help doing that, hire a social media person. Your life will change. So we have all these general video tips. We're going to get into that. I want you to think about expansion with joint venture. This means people that you have on that like, know, and trust. That means also places you want to get to know. It can also even mean opportunities, like I said, a podcast. It can be opportunities where you do a joint live with somebody, a joint interview. So maybe you'll say, wow, you know what, I could do a joint, you know, video, or keep it really simple with somebody that I really admire and I think we would be an ideal fit. That's where, when you have your freebies planned, you have your workshops planned, you spend more energy and bandwidth in the doing. Summits, online event, tons of people are doing online events. This is not an excuse. I'm a Simon Sinek kind of girl. This is an opportunity to be like, wow, how can I really look at people being more in an e-learning space as this beautiful synchronicity? What if I can go in and offer to places that have less people in their brick and mortar, you know, some opportunities to learn in an e-learning format? Guess what, guys? I did a lot of free events to build my network marketing business, to get people on those lists, old school, you know, workshop flyers. Same thing that you can do for anybody that wants to sign up. Hey guys, drop your email here if you want to get sent this replay. We can keep it really simple so that you can actually, you know, move forward. Giveaways are amazing. Tons of coaches. Jess Royston is one of our teaching coaches in my membership. She does giveaways. I did giveaways. You can keep them really simple on Instagram. Guess what? Tip. YouTube is going to be your BFF. And think about it. If you're Googling, where do you usually land? The reason I love YouTube is most likely, and I had this conversation yesterday, most likely you're going to Pinterest if you're a visual person. Most likely you're also searching on Google, which Google has a really great relationship with YouTube and your Facebook business page. So that's why I always say, be consistent, and also make sure that you are putting content in places that you, with your own behavior, search. So search on YouTube, how to do a giveaway. There's so many simple ways. Because tech was not my BFF, I would always just say, sign up right here. You can even do that on Eventbrite. The goal is to build engagement, build that know, like, and trust factor, have it be fun, show people health is doable. Because one of the biggest objections that you'll have in anything, program, your one-on-one membership, is, I don't know if I can do this. I don't have a lot of time. You know, I had this experience before, or I don't know if that's the right price. That's why we have different price options for our paid, but that's for another day. So giveaways are really fun too. They're like non-committal. And even if you said, and one of the tricks I did many years ago was sign up for this challenge, the 50th person, 100, 150, 200, 250 person will be granted prizes every 50. It's almost like what a radio show does. Old school marketing. Keep it fun. Also, keep it light for yourself, because no joke, the overwhelm will jam up your mojo. And there are tons of entrepreneurs who don't build with fancy anything, but they make sure that their vibe is really healthy and good. Bundle up, bundle up. I did this for summits. Can bundle up on some goodies and call it, the holiday giveaway bundle. I also did one in December called the Winter Wellness Giveaway. I was totally inspired on the people that I've interviewed, Danielle Laporte, because she did a pay what you can. So there are tons of ways to build authority without feeling exhausted. And so those winter wellness giveaways, or the pay what you can for a 14-day program. I also did pay what you can, 50% goes to, this place that I'm working with locally that's really struggling. There are so many ways to infuse what I call your brand message and your morals and your values, and get people to know who you are, because a lot of that also will bring people into your ecosystem. It's called the funnel, the ecosystem. Bring them into your ecosystem, because remember, a freebie, as long as you have it on a link, can be in a direct message. Just like in network marketing, where there's like canned direct messages and scripts, you are your script. You may be a little uncomfortable right now if you're brand new. Drop brand new below if you are to create that script. But guess what, guys? It's very simple once you slow down the overwhelm. And that's why, even in my free group, we're starting off with, just knowing your story and your why. Because once we once we lessen the overwhelm, content is magic. It really is. It allows us to just free up. Pour all that expertise into like a mini book, use it as a marketing tool. A lot of you are actually doing books. Hilda, who is a coach that I love, she created like a little book tour, and make sure your follow-up is really good. And that doesn't even have to be complicated. If somebody is messaging out to you on Instagram, take the time to respond in a voice message. I can't tell you how many people that I have converted into paying clients because I was willing to replace automation with human contact. All you need these days really is a calendar and a link. Some people don't even believe in websites. I would say, for those of you who really want to get to know your client, which you all do, take that extra time. The thing about a freebie or the blog, or hey, go check out my videos, is it gives your client a different opportunity with different kind of formats to learn. I'm a very visual learner, but I also need to have something that I can download. So it addresses my two types of processing and learning. But the key is to find out what converts the best and works for you, and to, of course, make it simple so that you are not exhausted. So I'm going to end this presentation. I'm going to, of course, just show you really simple, because I think it's extremely important for you to be able to see what I mean. I did this in a little mini video this morning because I just had to go back and be like, what am I not teaching? And actually, one of the people who works with me, he was like, you do best when you just show exactly from the health coach perspective. All the things that I've learned over time, they have been from a lot of failure to a lot of learning, a lot of studying people that I admire. A lot of them weren't even in the wellness industry, but I always made sure that as I would get overwhelmed, which we all do, I still do, that I bring myself back to my ideal client. And so I thought, why don't I show you guys, even if this is not we talked about hormone, kind of themed today as a hormone. This is applicable to any niche. And I just want to show you from a business folder. This is the program that we saw at yourhealthcoachbiz.com. I want to show you how I unwrap our content when I was using it, because I used the programs in my business until I, wasn't coaching. I want to show you how I keep it really simple. So right away, I'm going to unpack and I'm going to say, what do I need for marketing? So here's 2 freebies, 5 steps to detox your body. I'm going to look at the guide and I'm going to do what I call a quick scan. All right, so here's the verbiage. I like to go through and see if there's things that I need to change or if I can just write in a tip. And that's how I actually used our content, is I spent less time changing everything, even though, in 2013, we started selling the programs that I had made. I still kept it really simple because I knew how much energy and bandwidth I needed for having those conversations and all the things that I just shared with you. So I'm going to be like, boom, video number 1, change your diet, or this is blog. I'm going to pull either the blogs from this package or I'm going to get blogs and make sure that I can just share a little recap, information about changing your diet. Or I do a video on this and I'm going to do a little mini video, about 5 minutes each on each one of these. Cut out the toxins, 5 ways to detox your body for healthy hormones, and then I'm going to create these little mini steps. Sweat it out. I might do one on, magnesium. Not only Neps and salt, but I'm going to add in my love for ancient minerals and talk about where to get that. And also in my video, lead them back to my blog page or lead them to my link tree or lead them, of course, just to a Facebook group. I'm going to talk about breathing. I'm going to share how I do my own different breathing and things that I've learned over the years. And I'm also going to share how hard it is for a person like me to slow down. And so for me, I would do a video, or I would simply copy and paste this right into a Facebook post or an Instagram post, and then maybe even add some additional journaling and make that very simple, and I'm done. The same thing that I would do is how to detox with your moon cycle. I feel like this would appeal to my ideal client that is like me, and she loves a lot of that, like, not witchy kind of stuff, but she loves more of that like intuitive, deeper stuff. But she still wants a solution. So I usually had 2 different kind of clients, like one who was more attracted to this aspect, just like the 7-day chakra challenge that we have. I would have used that and related that to my gut people because that was my niche. And of course, talked about like the essential oils that I use for chakras. And I, of course, would have infused my network marketing, which is doTERRA. But I also, to build trust with people, also will always share, like, doTERRA doesn't make sage. And I've tried a lot of different sages and living libations. This is a sacred sage smudge. Oh my goodness, guys. So I would share this, all those little cool things that, I do in my life. Each one of you have your own cool things. Even, and I've heard people say, well, Rach, I don't know as much as you. This came from discovery. That's it. I had a lot of multifaceted health issues, but I guarantee there's something unique in your life, and I'm not you and you're not me, which means your client is going to fall in love with you. And of course, the information that you're teaching. So just keep that in mind, guys. So I'm going to talk about this, and I'm a lover of moon. I do all these different, I do like a full moon ritual, and it's different from someone else, and that's what I'm going to hold on to. And then, of course, I'm going to talk about the recipes in here, which that one recipe I could just simply shoot and be like, oh my God, guys, look at this recipe. Stop right there. And the desire for that person, because I often hear someone say, well, if I'm pulling content from in the guide, why would they want it? They want it because it's the whole guide. 2, even you putting in those personal tips or an email number one, you just shoot a few videos like, hey, this is what you're going to need in addition to this. This is my favorite, sage. This is my favorite meal. You're just adding in, a few different tips, reflecting just the guide. So you don't even have to think beyond that. Then, of course, I'm going to go into my 2 workshops. So endocrine disruptors. See, my hormone writer is going to kill me. No joke. I'm going to right away scan. How can I use this to lessen my overwhelm of how am I going to lead people to the webinar? How am I going to lead people to this live? And I'm going to go through each one. Same thing as I want you to think about with all of your marketing. So you don't hate marketing. You're going to reverse engineer from the big goal. Hey, on this webinar, or this live that I'm doing Sunday at 1, we're going to talk about endocrine disruptors. And so I'm going to start pulling content for little mini topics that I'm going to think of for like 14 days. Common sense when we understand just how we need to market something doesn't just fly off the shelf itself. So, and we always need to do that. And the faster that we make it like comfortable and not overwhelming, we won't feel exhausted. So I'm going to talk about makeup, even just that, me seeing makeup, personal care products, and talk about topic 1. Why do we have endocrine? What are endocrine disruptors? We all make these assumptions that our people know. But the cool thing is when we slow down, we come out of assumption, which is really makes an ass out of you and me. I know I heard that a long time ago from somebody. But it is the truth. In digital marketing, we're making assumptions. And so think about your ideal client. They may know what this word is, but do they really know? And that's the magic in conversion is slowing it down to not make these assumptions. Be like, guys, you know what? Let me jump into what endocrine disruptors are. Then the next day, how's this affecting your hormone health or your gut or your weight, however you are choosing to message or niche our content. So each one of you, I get many questions like, Rachel, how can I use this? And my biggest question always is before somebody has a 90-minute intensive or buys a program is, tell me a little about your business, because I don't want to be shooting darts, and each one of you have different business styles. But to keep it simple, you're covering each one of these. How do you get exposed to this? Signs. This is all the content that you're going to talk about leading up to that. This could even be a picture that you screenshot right here. This could even, you could convert this to a PDF and actually give the PDF before you do a workshop. That's what I did. Even before we had Zoom, I think we were doing stuff on like a teleclass. And anyway, and go through each one of these. Like, why do we actually need a hormone detox? Maybe for you, you're leading to the program that Dana Denawi and Ashley Beckham use, which is retune your hormones in 6 months. Maybe you're leading to your more niched down, polarized down topics still within the hormone niche, but you're specifically working with people in perimenopause. But this is like an element of the steps. This person has X issue, and you're taking them through these steps to lead them to wherever. Well, one of the steps has to, of course, be you explaining, whether it's in pre-recorded videos, social media, you have to start dating somebody. That's what really a funnel is about. It's date 1, they see you on your social media. Date 2 is they're like, wow, I'm going to check back with this person, or they hear you on a podcast, or they hear you mentioned in a newsletter, or you do a blog takeover on, an authority, an influencer, or somebody who, of course, it works in your industry. And they're like, wow, he or she consistently is dropping value. I'm going to keep following them. It's usually just like a child. You need to introduce a new food. I think it's 6 to like 12 times, if I remember. Kids are a little older now. It's the same thing in network marketing. You know, it's those touches, the touches in the verbiage in network marketing, that you need to have like touches with that person. It's in those touches and that communication that you're building that trust factor, which makes, you know, the person who's selling beauty counter over here better than this person over here because they had more touches, or doTERRA oils, or whatever network marketing you're in. So this is when you're laying the foundation for the date, so that you start to organically build, and also train yourself to come out of the overwhelm. I mean, in this hour, I feel like we've accomplished a lot of understanding how to actually use content. The marketing is the marketing, and I really encourage you to, you know, follow people like Simon Sinek or Ryan Dice, or I'm looking at all my books. I have a bunch of different ones, and to watch people, but you also need to think of the person on the other side who's digesting the information, whether they're hearing a video, whether they're on Pinterest and they're like, oh my God, and they see this image and it leads them back to your blog. This is the person I want you to care about. And also, you know, be honest with yourself on what your best medium is. For me, as a storyteller, it's video. For some people, it's more of an audio format, but again, that can still be uploaded to YouTube or Vimeo. That can be uploaded to Facebook as long as it's an MP4. Talk about all your cleaning products. I mean, there are so many just in that. And then, of course, this would be really applicable to my person. And I'm not a hormone specialist, but if I was, you know, because there's autoimmune, and that's a huge part of my why, my story. So I would do the same thing in here. I would go through, I would write down, you know, what are my 7 to 14 topics based on this, reverse engineer my content. So I'm not just putting noise out there, I'm putting content that my ideal client needs to hear about. And it's through my pair of glasses, my viewpoint, that separates me from anyone else. And it's one of the reasons that I landed clients from some of the people that I studied under. They would always say, you've been in my shoes, like you really understand it. And that's why I want to hire you. If I didn't have content out there explaining this, if I didn't touch on Candida, and we're just going to close it out for the purpose of today, if I didn't touch on every freaking element of yeast infections, Candida, the relationship between heavy metals and Candida, the blood sugar imbalances that I had as a child of hypoglycemia, and then where it turned later, where I had a higher A1C and wasn't PCOS, but was definitely insulin resistance. If I didn't share about those experiences, if I would have just drilled on, you know, education, and teaching, it would be hard for somebody to trust me. Now, there are other people that take more of that role. I would say Andrea from Replenish PDX is a very kind of scientific, I don't say this in a bad way. I say this more as a person who is so geeked out on the information that she shares in that way. Look at the difference between Terry Walls, who is she's a storyteller, but she infuses a lot of facts. Look at different people's styles that you gravitate to. I love how Alejandro Younger, you know, shared his content. And because of that, I really enjoyed his content, but I did buy every book. I became a buyer. And so when you think about your content and how you're showing up, you know, lessen the overwhelm. No matter what, you have to lessen the overwhelm and learn how to breathe through the fears. But you also need to take time to sit here and say, if my goal is people coming to my group, how am I going to structure it so I'm not losing my mind and that I can power pack with a 60 or 90-minute block in the morning and still get a blog out, repurpose the blog as a newsletter, add in my newsletter some really cool gifts so that people stay opening, even with no sign-up opt-ins. How can I then create like a video to be able to put on YouTube and create content for my social media in one day? Each of those compartmentalized to your 5 days in the week. And then for me, Saturday is always the day I do content. I just have more time. I'm an early riser. Some of you are late people, but you have to understand where you are time blocking. You need to think about your niche. You need to get really focused on your ideal client. And when you're at that place, which a lot of you are, but you abandon that because you hate marketing. You abandon that because it feels tough. It only feels tough because you haven't taken the time to reverse engineer from like that PowerPoint. Think of how you can use content to bleed out your month and really message that content with very little changes so that you spend more time in those conversations, doing outreach, building JV opportunities. 1 minute past the hour, so let me just respond to a few of these. Angie, a few of these ones that are live. If you're seeing this after, guys, please join our free group. 100%. We are going, I would say, old school crazy, but old school in a really good way. And, ask me any question below. If you're on YouTube, ask me any question wherever you're seeing this. But these ones are live. I have to watch the replay. I have a hard time getting there. Yeah, it just takes, I would say, it takes consistency and it takes practice. Somebody saying in my Facebook challenge, is it okay to use Zoom to record a video? Oh my goodness, not only is it okay to use Zoom to record a pre-recorded video, it's okay to use loom.com. You can do pre-recorded videos just from that. You don't have to do a live feature. One of the biggest hacks that I learned when I couldn't afford the webinar feature to live, which is $40 a month, I would do it on the meeting. I would bring back my handy tripod. I also have another kind of tripod for a camera, and then I would do the live aspect from my phone. How do you do a giveaway on YouTube? Really simple. We have the challenge that you so desire to launch. You're going to use an opt-in page. You can use one either with your email marketing system or something like lead pages. Those pages are structured in a way where they're proven. That's why they're structured in that way. They're really easy to use. You even see some of the top use lead pages, and the download pages are on lead pages. You just have to simply, host the giveaway. And on YouTube, you can be promoting it so that when people see that YouTube, like, hey, join this challenge. If it's evergreen, that means you've done that challenge and it's more like a teaching series, like Christina Weiss did. If you're doing it live, I would suggest, just because for the sake of live, that you put those videos that are more like the benefits of a challenge, that pre-marketing. Give yourself 2 weeks of videos on live, on those videos on YouTube. The same very videos that you have on YouTube, can put them onto your Facebook business page. You can put them onto IGTV. You can also, of course, use those videos in your outreach to say, hey, I'm hosting this giveaway. If you bring anyone to the list, I will give you XYZ in return, or just keep it really simple where you're bringing them to that giveaway and you decide where you're hosting it. For me, I find that Facebook had a better engagement for me, so I usually hosted them in groups. So it was really easy to say, head over onto my site. You will see where we're hosting the giveaway. Sign up here. A lot of other coaches will use Eventbrite because they haven't gotten to the state where they have a CRM yet. And you can, of course, say the giveaway will be hosted in this group. You don't even need to send them a follow-up. You could say, come into this group, ask a group question like, did you sign up for the challenge? What's your email? Do I have the approval of sending you the challenge documents? And those 3 questions, grant them in, membership approval, grant them in, and then have all the challenge documents set up in the unit section. Again, Facebook is a great, YouTube is a great place to learn how to build out a Facebook unit section. But guys, I will just close with this. I've done so many challenges. You can see actually almost all of the groups on Facebook, people still opt in and see if they can come into those groups. That was way before I even was able to do automation. I put the content in the groups. Unit section was not even available to Facebook in the Facebook feature. But people knew in the pin post or in the announcements that that's where they could get their content. A lot of us worry a lot about people opting in. Of course, we want people to opt in, but I will tell you, if you're struggling with the opt-in, start telling people, here, just send me a direct message. If you're struggling with these problems, and I'll hit you with a gift through the comments. So that can even be saying to somebody, do I have your permission to send you an email? And having them, put their content, right in the bottom, putting it to an Excel spreadsheet, and sending them the content, more just as a personal email. What's not allowed is when we, of course, email masses from a Gmail, but we want to get everyone back into personal conversation. Personal conversation will always trump automation. It just will. It's even, for bots that are great, people are blown away when we're like answering. And I think that it will really lessen your frustration with conversion and bring you back to a place of old school business, old school marketing. Keep in mind, I started this business before, we were in like automation nation, and I didn't have automation in the beginning. I didn't even know how to do it. And even when I had MailChimp, I didn't know how to do it. So I just would put the thank you right on the thank you email that MailChimp had automatically directed them to. But that's why I also used Facebook groups. I would say as a business owner, and I haven't tested out Facebook group rooms and messenger rooms, there's so much that Facebook and Instagram has done to help out service providers, to help out coaches, to help out people at the infancy of their business. It's for us to be structured and also let go of the overwhelm, and to be really honest when we have that overwhelm. And when we're, I know Denise actually from, my groups, and also from just, knowing her as a person who buys content. I said to her the other day, the only enemy is you, lady. You know who you serve. You have an insanely beautiful story. And one that we all have. And if you don't share it, there's a woman who is your vibe, who has struggled with many of the things you have. And she's desperately looking for somebody to just, hear that story so that she can say, wow, if this person's, not bedridden, and she got through, cancer and all this autoimmune. And, I love you, Denise. I see you down there. If she's working out, if she's able to do this, like I can. And I think that that's the part that we often forget when it comes to marketing is, we can't just sit there and be like, hey, look at me do this, I'm thriving. We need to also be inspiration, share the transparency and the authenticity from ourselves. And each one of us, that's different for each one of us. But the only enemy we have is really ourselves, and then of course we have to know a little about algorithms. But the truth is, guys, never got caught up in the algorithms or the hashtags. I spend more time thinking, where is my ideal client hanging out? If she or he is hanging out on Pinterest, because I'm a Pinterest lover, if he or she is maybe, in corporate, and they're struggling like I was in corporate. Okay, LinkedIn. If my client is, searching intentionally on Facebook, really important for me to have my Facebook business page, important for me to have a group name that would help my ideal client. Important for me to have videos on YouTube because it's a search engine optimization machine. And I faked it till I made it. I don't know I know that doesn't sound exactly, but I went more with the Gary Vaynerchuk approach where it's like, I'm going to create content and then I'm going to put it in all these different places because I have very limited time. And I'm going to watch where I convert the best and watch what works for me. And it was bringing freebies and workshops and webinars to a one-on-one call. And I spent a lot of time thinking about the psychology of that person. I spent a lot of time working on my pitch to people. And even though I was scared, I did it though. And I didn't let myself fall back into the excuse or think that there was going to be this magical one coach or this magical one, program. I had amazing coaches. I hired them when I was financially able to. An amazing launch coach, amazing niche coach, amazing mindset coach. And then, but still even before that, I spent the time to get known locally, spent the time to get known online. And all the things that I share with you today, it's exactly the steps that I took. And I wish that I wish it was easier. I wish that there was this one-stop solution for everyone. It just doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in health. It does not exist in business. So I just encourage you to show up despite your fears. Do despite your fears, but be intentional. Don't put noise out. Be really intentional. Guys, we had some amazing podcasts. Dr. Ashley was the last one. She's talking about epigenetics. She's used our programs. Geez, I probably have known this girl 6 years or more. So I would go on to Rachel A. Feldman RachelAFeldman.com/podcast, listen to her, other people and their experiences. And if you need any good free stuff, it's right there. You can use it. You can get your feet wet on what it's like to use our content. And if you have any questions, of course, feel free to hit us up at yourhealthcoachbiz.com. I typically am the one that answers you. So with that being said, have an amazing one. And if no one told you today, you are worth the success. All right. You'll get that when you get an email or a text message or a testimonial from somebody that you've changed their life. And you will, but you need to be visible and you need to be, clear. And you also need to test to be able to figure out your jam and come out of the overwhelm. Guys, it's been a true honor. I will see you later. And again, my name is Rachel Feldman. Bye, guys.